G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm interviewing none other than absolute NA East controller god, Whofishy. You guys absolutely loved my REIT video. I asked Whofishy all the stuff you wanted to know. What are his settings? How did he blow up as a pro? What's his best advice to you guys if you want to blow up as a pro? What's his training routine look like? What are his thoughts on new players trying to make content? Just everything you could ever want to know from a pro, I have in today's video. Please make sure you check out Whofishy Socials. They're all in the description. Check out his YouTube. There's some of the best montages on YouTube. Check out his Twitch. He streams almost every day. He's a dead set legend. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below anyone else you want me to interview. I'm going to reach out to them and see if they're down for it because I absolutely love making these. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Now let's jump into it. Are you playing scrims today?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, I won't keep you too long anyway. So who are you playing with at the moment? Just in case you have had some weird shift because everyone's swapping.
I'm playing with Tabs and Joji.
Okay, all right, nice.
Yeah.
How you feeling with you guys?
Dude, they're really good.
Yeah, nice. Liking it. Tabs looks like fun to play with too. Like if I'm gonna scrim with
so
someone,
if
I'm gonna scrim with someone like every day for a week, it's gonna
Yeah.
want to be someone like Tabs
Literally.
for sure.
100%.
Now, I don't know if you've seen other ones I've done like this before. Nothing crazy. Don't freak out. It's more, I love settings videos. I love hearing how pros have their settings mostly, like all that stuff. But I feel like they never ever explain what it is. Like it's just like, here's my settings, and I love asking how did you find that sensitivity, why did you find those keybinds, like how do you hold your controller, all that kind of stuff, because I have not looked at your settings at all deliberately because I wanted to like come into it like blind so I can ask you. You are linear though, right? Like I have that much written down. Okay, good, because I did REIT was expo and all my viewers were like, do someone with linear, do a pro with linear, and I was like, you know what, I reckon Whofishy will be perfect for that because I was like I want the other perspective because you don't just hard W key kids constantly either. So I was like we'll get that one as well. So starting off with talking about your setting stuff. So obviously you're on linear. What is your sense? We'll start off with because that seems to be the one that everyone asks about first.
All right, so my sense is I play on 43.
Okay.
Like look horizontal and vertical.
Yep.
And I have like none of like the boosts on or ramp time, none of that.
Okay.
My ADS sense horizontal I have on 8 and vertical I have on 10.
Okay.
And then none of the boosts or anything like that.
Okay.
And then no look dampening time.
Yep.
And then just linear, 100% aim assist, of course.
Nah,
and
I got that one down.
And then dead zone is 9-9.
Okay. Now, first off, 9-9. That's a pretty low dead zone. What controller do you use then? Because I feel like a lot of controllers, when people go that low, they get drift. Do you get any drift, or is your controller chilling?
I'll get some drift after like a couple months, but it's not like terrible. I use the Scuff Impact.
Okay, and so you have to replace yours every few months. Is that kind of like the life cycle of your controllers at the moment?
So I just got a new one. My other one lasted for about like 6-7 months, so it's longer than most others. Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, that's not bad then, because I literally made a tweet like a few days ago, being like, someone needs to start a company for this, because the amount of times you guys go through controllers is insane. Okay, 6-7 months, not bad. All right. Well, next question would be, how did you find your sensitivity then? Like, how did you play around with a whole bunch? Did you copy a friend? Like, what was the method for how you found your sense?
So I basically messed around with when I switched to linear after like they took out. I played on Expo for a while. Okay. Like even when Legacy was in. Oh, like really? When they switched, I played on Expo, and then a bunch of my friends told me to switch to linear, so I switched to linear, and I was trying out like anything in the 40s, really. Okay. And Coop and I actually found out that like 43 was kind of like the best sense for us. Like that's what we hit the most shots on, and what we're like still like good mechanics with. So
and so you found the jump from Expo to linear did improve you a lot, right? Like I'm guessing, is there anything you miss about being on Expo though? Is there any reasons you might go back to Expo, or you're just pure linear now, no regrets?
The one thing was long range AR tags. Because on linear it's a little tough, but if you can like aim train, or a lot of times if I'm like based up on a mountain, I'll just go on keyboard.
So you do. So you have mouse and keyboard. You pull out the hybrid and just go for tags. Yeah, I've seen Kalaza do that a bunch too. I mean, I don't blame you. Like aim assist at long range is just like it's impossible. And if you've got even slightly high sense, there's almost no way you can like adjust at that range properly. Okay, so pull out the mouse and keyboard. And again, that's not going to affect too many people anyway, because unless you're Storm Surge lobbies, it's not a huge deal. Like you're talking like long range tags, not even like mid range engagements. Okay.
Yeah, and like then, final stuff. Yeah.
How long after you switched from Expo to linear would you say that it took you to become like as good as Expo or started to improve? Like was it a long period or you pick up new stuff pretty quick?
It was like about like a couple weeks, I'd say. It's just like the first time I switched to linear, I actually like felt like motion sickness. Like it looked like a lot different.
Okay.
Because that's just like a little bit used to.
Well, that's the one I want to ask, because everyone always thinks like I'm going to change, but there's so many people who I know who are like hard stuck into Expo and they're like, no, I don't go to linear because it feels terrible. So you felt like literally motion sick after the first day. You still stuck out with it, and obviously you don't regret it, right? So it's worth. Do you think it's worth it, or do you think some players and some people should stick to Expo? Like obviously you've got some nuts Expo players out there. You got Scopes, you got Reed. I think Scopes actually switched recently, but do you think it's worth sticking to Expo if you're really good at it, or do you think everyone should try to go to linear if they can?
I just prefer linear, to be honest, just because I feel like you can be more consistent, just because it's not like an exponential curve. Like it's really so consistent to the point where like you don't have you can just practice over and over and over.
Yeah, okay, fair enough then. Okay, and with holding your controller, do you claw, you paddles? I again don't know anything about your keybinds.
So mine's pretty weird. I've never played like claw for anything.
Okay.
But I use the touchpad to edit.
Okay.
So
do you do an AV style? Do you wrap your finger up and around?
Yeah, it's like so my right index finger is on it's on the right trigger.
Yep.
And like the tip of it is on the touchpad.
Yeah. Okay, that's exactly what AV does. That blew my mind when I first figured it out, because I was like, how is he like touchpad editing? Okay, I think he might do left hand, but maybe his camera was flipped, because I went to controller for like a week, and I've tried to go like 4 paddles. Like I went all out. That was so dumb of me because it was so hard, but I was trying to get my head around like how people use it. Okay, fair enough. Does that mean you're going to be limited to pretty much only, like you can't really use any of the Xbox variant controllers then, like any of the Elites or anything? You got to stick to what Scuffs and PlayStation then? Okay.
Yeah, I would use PlayStation,
Okay, fair enough. And then so obviously, so that's it. So you don't really claw anything. You don't have any paddles?
I have on the Impact there's 4 paddles, but I only use 2.
Okay.
So I use like the right the right inner paddle for switch mode, and then I use the left inner paddle for crouch.
So you don't use that for any of your builds? You don't have any builds on paddles?
No, I have builds on just the bumpers and triggers.
Damn, okay, so you swap. Okay, so this is crazy. This is where, like, I tried a low controller, and that was the part that blew my mind. People always make the jokes about aim assist and stuff. Don't get me wrong. It was, like, peak linear, like, drum gun meta, and it was fun just getting in someone's box. But switching weapons and switching builds, I was, like, completely lost on. Okay, now, the one that everyone always asks me as well, when it comes to, like, your actual practice routine, like, what does a normal day, of a good day, not off-season day, but what does, like, a normal day during FNCS look like for you trying to improve or just stay as good as you are?
So I stream in the morning every day. So normally I don't warm up before that. I just literally just hop out of bed and start the stream.
Nice.
And then I'll take a little nap, and then like before scrims is when I'll actually warm up. So I do like an aim course. I think it's called like Scavox or something.
Yeah, Scavox is sick. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I use that, and then I use I'll just free build for like 10 minutes, and then I'll use the Raiders
this is great for me.
Control map.
This is great. These are literally like my video was like Scavox and that exact map for like warming up. Okay, when you do Scavox, like how long do you spend in Scavox? Like what is your rough routine? Like do you work on like horizontal, vertical tracking? Do you do any of the tile frenzy stuff? Like what do you mostly do? Do you know?
I kind of do a little bit of everything, and it's like till I feel warmed up. Like I don't know. Yeah, it's like sometimes it'll take 5 minutes. Sometimes it'll take like 2 hours. Like,
okay, geez. All right, which is fair. Okay.
It's kind of just day by day.
Okay, and do you pretty much do that almost every day then? So like you would aim train almost every day. Yes, that's the concept with. I hate that with controller. The controller players don't aim train. I'm like, you don't think like I've seen AV aim training all the time. I've seen Klaas do it a little bit. I'm like, good controller players will aim train for sure. Okay.
100%, yeah.
And then so how long do you spend doing like piece control map and like some edit practicing?
Just so that's till you're warm? Yeah, it's pretty much till I'm warm. I'll go through that whole Raider map, and then
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And you obviously do pretty much scrims all day, right? Like you almost do from very first to last game. I don't see you miss too many scrims on top of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. Well, now I'm going to go back to before that. So before, obviously, you started popping off, before everyone started to know who you were and you started to blow up, was there anything, were you still following the same kind of like practice routine, or have you practiced more now that you started to go pro? Have you practiced less, or has it been pretty much consistent the whole way through?
To be honest, like before, I focused a lot on like in-game stuff, so I VOD reviewed like a lot.
Okay.
And I didn't spend as much time like in creative or anything.
Okay.
And like now that I know kind of like how to play the game more, like I spend a lot of time on like fundamentals and stuff, you could say.
See, I have that concept as well. Like people think that like the pros are out here like VOD reviewing every single day, every single week, like creative practice. I'm like, look, once you get like a decent game understanding, like metas will shift a little bit, but it's not that much. And once you have that like knowledge, like knowing when to go for high ground, you can be like, okay, cool, there's rifts in the game. Maybe that means we go for high ground a little bit later than earlier. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to then go back and VOD review for hours. Okay, that's interesting. Do you think there was any like big defining moment that started to make you as a pro? Was there a moment when you started to be like, oh damn, like I'm actually a pro? Because you didn't, I wouldn't say you came out of nowhere, but you definitely had a big blow up.
Yeah, it was kind of like in the solo season. Like I spent like a lot of time just VOD reviewing and playing, like just playing the game a lot. So that was kind of when I kind of noticed it.
Because that's like the hardest part of me. That's why whenever people always laugh at me when I say solo is one of my favorite game modes, I'm like, because anyone can make a name for themselves. Like now you are Whofishy, you can find teammates, right? Like again, you said you're now playing with Tabs and Joji, like great players. Like you wouldn't have had a chance to play with them before popping off in solos. Like that's why I still always want some kind of solo tournament, because a lot of people did that. I mean, I heard the whispers as well when you started doing just controller, just abusing aim assist, all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy team game modes came out so you could like keep popping off and prove them wrong. But that's interesting. Okay, now if you had to, would that be the advice you'd give someone else if they're trying to improve? Like I know I get asked these questions all the time and I know they're so hard to answer, but if you had like one thing that you reckon the average player could work on that would make them perform so much better, would it be VOD reviewing? Would it be like creative? Like what is the main deficiency you see in the average player?
So a lot of people like they'll VOD review like the best players, like which is obviously what you want to do. But whenever I like die or something, like I'll go into the replay and watch it from the other guy's perspective.
True. Okay.
Like that helps. Like you'll be able to see what you did. It's like, wow, that was like a terrible peak. Like why would I even edit that? You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. And so that's hard. Like you got to put your ego aside when you do that too. Like you got to go in and see why somebody beat you. Like straight up, this guy killed me. How did he kill me? Okay, well there you go. All right, VOD review your own gameplay. I mean, I like that too, because people always ask me to do VOD reviews again now, and I'm like, look, I've already said everything that I need to say, and I know, when you do the pros, it just feels like it's so specific to that one situation. You need to like identify the trends in your own gameplay. Like, man, I always seem to take the dumbest like left-hand peaks, or end game. I don't know why I'm going for a refresh here. I already have like 800 mats type thing. Cool. All right. I like that. I agree with that. All right. Now, when it comes to obviously, playing into trios and stuff, do you think, like, what role do you fit into a trio, do you think? Obviously, controller player, almost everyone always says fragger, but I've watched you play with Chap a whole bunch now. Obviously, I watched you play a bunch of scrims. I would disagree, but do you think controller players naturally should fall into that fragger role, or can more people fall into that Colazo IGL kind of mentality too?
I think most controller players generally just frag, but like there's no like set role. Yeah. Like I'm the tarper for
that's Tabs, what I mean. Controller tarping's amazing. Like it's actually better to tarp on controller. That's why everyone people is like, oh wow, Colazo tarping on controller. I'm like, it actually makes more sense when you have double movement. Like it actually makes tarping way better. It does. So you switch roles a little bit there, because you definitely weren't tarp when you were Chap. Obviously Chap is always tarper, so that's interesting.
Right, and like when Chap would get hit hard, or like we got into a really weird spot, like I was always back tarp too. So if zone pulls like back and like across, like in second moving or something, like I would always just start going, because you don't want to like stagger, especially like mid moving zones, and like so it's just nice to be able to tarp.
And how you find that role? You like it? Because I mean, I feel like this is honestly the toughest meta I've ever seen for tarpers and IGLs. I feel like they always die first, because if you don't have a rift fish or you've really got shockwaves, you're almost always just tarping into someone. Are you finding it fun, or is it frustrating, or you're enjoying it at least?
I actually love it. Like playing with Tabs and Joji, like all I have to do is pretty much build them a really easy tarp to follow.
Yeah.
And then like they kind of just bring me bodies. Like it's really nice.
All of a sudden you just have that's fully mine. Yeah, sick.
Yeah,
that would move into my next question then. Do you think, like, obviously you were grinding out in solos and you made a name for yourself in solos. Do you, like, people always make that like comment that a friend group is the most important thing when it comes to going pro. Do you kind of agree, like finding people who are also good at the game but are kind of grinding it as well was instrumental for you? Or did you kind of do it on your own and then you found the people to play with after that?
I mean, like a lot of the guys in my friend group, like we always like grind together and stuff and play creative. But I think it's like a lot of people will PG the same person every day. True. But it's like you're not gonna face that. Like you'll get so used to like trying to combo like there's specific moves, but like you just gotta PG like other people and like always play versus other people.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I like that, yeah, because I feel like that's easy to get in the habit of. You just verse your duo mate or trio mate, or you verse like the same couple of friends. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. All right, well, pretty much like the last thing I want to ask you is about competitive in the coming year. Do you like the whole trios every single season? Do you like the fact that it's a set game mode? Do you wish it was a different game mode, or you're pretty happy with a year of trios?
I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. Okay. I think it'll be cool. Like after this year, if they like decide to do like the same stuff where it's like a year-long game mode, if they start to like if orgs start to pick up specific teams, like I think that would be pretty cool. Like and also I think it's just good in the case of like just epic understanding like metas and like fixing servers. I think it'll be a good change.
It stays the same, so you can actually figure out what worked. Last trios this didn't work, because when you change the game mode, everything changes, right? Like we've just had for 2 solos, we had what would have been a pretty decent team meta, and then we went to team game modes with a solo meta. There was no rotation, there was team based. So I feel I agree. I feel like having teams would be pretty sweet. All right, last one I want to talk about is your content, because obviously that's what's helped make a name for yourself recently. Your montages are insane. Everybody knows that, super unique and stuff. I have to ask about specifically with your editor, XL. Did you find XL? Did he find you? Do you recommend that people trying to make content try to find an editor? Like, is that something that you would say people should go down? Like, what was the relationship there? How did that all kick off?
Right. So XL hit me up, and like I was like going to make highlight videos like as I started placing, because I always said like I'm not gonna like exactly. I'm not gonna like start really try hard in content until like I start placing and throw a name. But so XL hit me up, and then like we started making the videos, and I told him like I want to do something like different, like with the music and stuff. And like he was like, I don't like all the highlight videos are like so bland, so we started doing like the reaction videos and like so we did that. But I think content, like if you're not doing content and like you really have to at this point in the game, like with the lower prize pools. If you don't do content, then you're just selling your bag, to be honest.
And it's just free as well. It gives you like career longevity. And when it comes to highlights, again, you find an editor and then you make them the video. After a while, hopefully those make more money than you're spending. It's just free money at that point. You just get the clips and send them. Like people aren't. But the interesting thing you said there as well, so you tried to really focus on improving as a player, placing, then making content, which I would kind of agree with. No matter how good your montages are, if people don't know you, they're not really going to watch them. So it's probably, you recommend people spending their time trying to get a bit better to at least a certain degree to build a name and then try to focus on content, Yeah,
that's what I would recommend. Unless you have like really unique ideas for content and like that'll grab other people's attention, then
Okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, that's pretty much going to do it for me, man. I'm guessing you're going to want to warm up for scrims and stuff. Before you take off, because obviously I always like to do this, is there any socials in particular you want to plug? I'm going to put them all in the description. I'm going to say them in the conclusion, but is there anything you wanted to shout out specifically?
Just like my Twitch and YouTube. I don't really care about my Twitter, but on YouTube, it's just youtube.com/Whofishy and then Twitch TV. /Whofishy. That's pretty much it.
Let's go as well. Like I said, I'll give you a big wrap in the conclusion stuff anyway. So I like that, man. I like that you don't focus on the Twitter and stuff, right? Because YouTube and Twitch is just the most fun to make content. Twitter's usually just like ego and clout. There's actually no other. There's nothing else really on it. It's not monetized. Like it's not really, I guess it's kind of fun to get more likes, but not really compared to a video. All right, I respect it. Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm gonna do big shout outs and stuff. You're welcome, dude. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As you just heard from Whofishy, check out his socials, YouTube and Twitch, and I've got his Twitter in the description as well. Please check him out, show him some love. As you can see, he's one of the nicest guys in the community, an absolute god at the game, and he's just genuinely a dead set legend. So please check him out. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, please chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comments anyone else you want me to interview for these videos, because I absolutely love making them. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.